In this video we're going to look at the level 1 spreadsheet task, which is always task 2 of your ICT test. Again, if you've looked at task 1, we're following along with the sets that are available on the Pearson website. So we'll have a look at the first task. So here are our instructions. So first thing you're always asked to do is enter your name and candidate number and details into the footer. So to do this, you're going to insert header and footer, and then go to footer. Then you've got to type your information in the bottom here. Now you can see that by opening the header and footer, you've got a sort of strange split screen view. You need to make sure you turn this back to normal before you continue. So put it back to normal. It's just this little grid button down the bottom here, and it just puts it back to normal, which is more user friendly. So first thing we're asked to do, some sales for Saturday have not been entered, so enter this information. So strawberry cheesecake 14, apple crumbles 13, chocolate profiteroles 2. So 14, 13, 2. Then we're asked to calculate the total sales for each menu item. So here's our menu items, and we want to calculate the total sales, so we're going to be adding these numbers here. To do this, we use a function called sum. So we're typing equals. All formulas and functions start with equals. So we're doing equals, the word sum, open a bracket, and then we're just going to click and hold on the first number that we want and drag across to the last number. Close our bracket and click enter. We only ever need to do the first one, so we can click back up into this box, hover our cursor in the little right hand corner till it changes to that little black cross which you can see appear there. And then we're going to hold our left mouse button down and drag it to the bottom, and it will complete the rest for us. So we're then asked to use a formula to calculate the income for each menu item. So the income for each menu item would be the cost of the item times the amount that was sold. So with this one, when we're multiplying, we're doing equals, we're going to do the number sold times, which is the little star or asterisk above the 8, the cost. Remember, you're always entering cell references. So if you're not sure what a cell reference is, this cell here would be cell B5. And again, complete the first one, drag that down. Use a formula to calculate the total income for last week. So this time we're doing the total income, so this is, we want to add all of these figures. Again, we're adding, so we're going to use equals sum. So we always use equals sum if we're adding up a whole column or a whole row of information. If we're just using two cells, so just adding one cell plus another cell, then we would just use the plus button. And then we're going to close our bracket, click enter, and it will total that for us. So we're then asked to format the spreadsheet. Format all currency values to pound with 2 decimal places, and add any other formatting to make the spreadsheet clear and easy to understand. So in order to make it clear and easy to understand, Firstly, we need to make sure our columns are wide enough. We've got information here that isn't quite in view. So we can just hover up between the letters here and double click, and it will make them the correct width for what we need. You can click and drag them out if you wish. It's entirely up to you. We're also going to bold and center our column titles. So highlight them, bold, center, and we're going to add our grid lines just to make that bit clearer. Now, the important thing to remember when you're putting the grid lines in is to not put it round blank cells. So we can't drag all the way down here, because then when we do the borders, we've got it all around these blank cells here, which we don't want. So highlight where you want it to go, use this drop down menu here and select all borders, and then if you've got a bit that's separate, do that separately. The other thing we need to do is make sure that anything that is money is set to currency, because this is what we were asked to do here. So this column here should be set to currency. So in the Home tab, about halfway across, you've got this general drop down menu. Click currency. This obviously is number sold, and this is total number sold, so these aren't money, but the income is. So we would change that to currency as well. If you need to, so on this one we're asked to do it with 2 decimal places, which we've got 2 numbers after the decimal point. If you're asked to do it as whole numbers, these 2 buttons here change the decimal place. So you can take the decimal place out with this button, you can put the decimals in with this button. You could bold your main title, maybe make it a bit bigger. And that's as far as you need to go with formatting. So we're then asked to create a chart to display the income for each menu item. Now, with charts, you need to be careful that you're only selecting what you need in the chart. So it's rarely everything. So you're rarely highlighting the whole of your spreadsheet. So create a chart to display the income for each menu item. So we want menu item. So we're going to highlight that. We're then going to put our cursor in the right place but not click on that. And then we're going to hold down the control button on the keyboard, hold down your left mouse button and drag to the bottom of there. And we can then go to insert. Always do a column chart unless it says otherwise. Occasionally you'll be asked for a pie chart. And always do the simplest one up here. So you'll see it's put all the information in. Don't worry about the fact that it's small because we're going to be moving it anyway. So we now need to label our chart. So to do this we go into this little cross here and tick axis titles. And then you need to use the column headings. So this axis title here is going to be menu item, and this one here is going to be income. And then a full chart title. So really you want to reword what you were asked to do. So we were asked to produce a chart to show the income for each menu item, so therefore we have produced a chart to show the income for each menu item. Careful of spelling errors. Once we're happy with our charts and it's labelled, we're then always asked to save it as a separate sheet. This just means move it properly. And to do that, we're going to right click on our chart so that these options come up. You should be able to see the words move chart. If you're too close to the words, you don't always get the same options. So just if that happens, just move your cursor a bit. So we're going to move chart, we're going to click new sheet, and we're going to click OK. And we've now got a fully completed chart. And that's it for this task. We would then save this into our named file. Just in case you're not sure how to do that, we will so we can now go File, Save As. Your file would already be on your desktop. Navigate to the desktop, find our named file, and save our spreadsheet in there. And that task is complete. So that was using set 19. So let's have a look at the question for set 20. So again, open and enter your name and candidate number into the footer. Enter your information and don't forget, put it back to normal. So on this one we are asked to change the information. So the information for the sponsored walk has not been entered. So enter the income. So event income. And the event costs. Use a formula to calculate the total income for each year. So the total income for each year is going to be adding these up. So as before, we're doing equals sum. Open our bracket, click and drag across our numbers. And then just the same as you can drag your formula down, you can drag it across. So bottom right hand corner, hold the left mouse button, drag to the right. We're then asked to use a formula to calculate the total costs for each year. So this is this one. And again, that's a list of the costs, so we're just adding those together. Use a formula to calculate the charity donation for each year, and you've got a hint here. The charity donation is the total income minus the total cost. So the total income minus the total cost. So down here, equals, this time we're minusing, so we're still going to use the cell references, but it's this one. The minus button is just to the left of the plus and equals button. and we're minusing this one. Click enter, drag that across. Then we're asked to use a formula in cell B22 to calculate the average charity donation. The average charity donation is another formula. Works exactly the same as equals sum. You just don't type sum, you type average. So equals average, open bracket, click and drag across the numbers that you want to include. Close your bracket and enter. And then we're back to formatting, so currency and all the other bits. So this time you've got a main title. With the main title, make sure you highlight across so the same number of columns that are being used, and then use the merge and center button there so it centers that for you. Bold and center your headings. And then you can add your grid lines. Again, be careful where you're adding them, so we're going to add them to this bit and this bit here. We don't want to include that bit there, and we're going to include this bit here and this bit here, but not that bit across there. And then we'll do this bit separately. You could center these as well if you feel like that makes those a bit clearer. So we do not want that bit there. Be very careful of that, it's very easy to put it around blank ones. Okay, and then we want to do our currency. So all of this is money, so we can highlight it all. Change to currency. All of this is money. And we can change all that to currency. And then we're asked for a chart again. So create a chart to display the charity donation for each year. So we're just doing this. It says create a chart, so we can create a column chart again. We're not asked for a specific one. And so we're just going to highlight. Highlighting is a little bit easier on this one. Insert our chart. Now this time, because you're not highlighting the years, you need to relabel this. So we don't want this labelled 1, 2, 3, 4. We want it labelled with the years from across here. So to do that, we go to select data. So when you're clicked on your chart, you get these chart tools at the top. In design, select data. Find the little bit that's wrong here and click edit, and then click and drag across what you actually want that to say, and it will put those in for you. And then we're going to label this again, so axis titles, and we want to use, so this one is obviously the year, and this one is the donation. And then our full chart title. And once we're happy, right click, move chart, move sheet, OK. And there we've got our completed spreadsheet. So to save that file, save as, desktop, find your named file, click save. So hopefully those two examples help. You can go on to practice with set 21 and hopefully that will be all you need to know.